Alrighty, kiddos, so if you're watching this, that means you have chosen to do the multi-chromatic portrait. Let me just adjust my tripod. Alright, so what I mean by multi-chromatic is that you are not going to use pre-mixed skin tones, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So colors like this that already kind of look like my skin tone, or like deeper skin tones, you're not going to use anything that's pre-mixed. You're actually just going to use the pure hues of the rainbow. So I'll show you what I mean by that. These are the colors I am going to use for this portrait. So you see I just have kind of rainbow tones. I have red, orange, yellow. I'm actually not going to use any green because green tends to make you look a little bit sick. So I'm personally not going to do that. I just don't want to. But I have a couple shades of blue. Then I have this lighter violet and a white. I might grab a deeper violet shade as well. So there. These are the colors I am going to use. So you can see I have done one side completely, and on the other side I have started with just a light wash of yellow. This is because I have very fair skin tones. If you are a little bit more on the medium side, you might want to start with a light wash of orange. If you are on the deep side, you might want to start with a light wash of red. But since I am very light, I am just going to start with the light wash of yellow. Then the way I'm going to do this to start building up the low lights, and by the way, the low lights mean the darker areas of the face where it is going back in space. So you can see underneath the cheekbone here, that's a low light. Around the top of the forehead where it's kind of curving back into space, low light. The inner corners of the eyes where it kind of starts that nose contour are a low light as well. So to start building up those lowlights, I'm just going to work my way through the rainbow. So we started with yellow, obviously, on the entire face. That's kind of going to be my highlight areas. But to start building up those lowlights, I'm going to work my way through the rainbow. So the next color after yellow would be orange. Now something to notice on the side that's finished is a lot of the shadow areas are more on the cool tone side. So the parts that are deepest in the shadows, like right in here and right in here, are going to be all the way towards the end of the rainbow, those blues and purples, because shadows tend to be more cool toned and highlights tend to be more warm toned. So I'm going to start building up that orange even on the highlight of my face, because I'm just going to keep the very lightest parts, that light yellow shade. I'm going to build it up around my nose. My nose kind of comes to a point in the middle. That's just how my face is. I kind of have that started. Okay, then there's a shadow underneath your nose, because this part comes furthest out in space, so it's going to cast a shadow right underneath. It's going to be dark towards the bottom of your nose as well. Okay, underneath my eyes, I'm going to have a little bit of dark circles. Okay, and then around the top of my forehead, I'm going to start to get a little bit darker. So I'm going to start with the orange, gradually build it up throughout the colors of the rainbow. So if you are a deeper skin tone and you started, or a medium skin tone I should say, and you started with the orange, then you would be doing your first shadow buildup with red, because that's the next color, the next darkest color, I should say. Okay, and then my chin, I have a bit of a cleft chin, so it's going to be darkest right here in the middle. And then I'm going to have a bit of shadows going around either side of my chin. And then right underneath my lip, I'm going to have a bit of a darker shadow. So you can make the orange part or the second color darker in some areas and lighter in others. You see I'm kind of going in with a lighter hand around certain areas, but then where I know it's going to be really dark, I'm kind of going a little bit heavier handed with the orange. Okay, the inner corners of the eye, as well as along the crease of the eye, it is going to be the darkest. Now some people do not have this eyelid crease, so then the darkest area would be right along that top lash line. Okay, and then it's kind of going to start curving around and go up around the brow bone. The brow bone is the part right underneath the eyebrow, and that is going to be the darkest. Or not the darkest, the lightest. It's going to be the highlight because it's popping out the most right there. Okay. And then right underneath the jawline, you are actually going to have your darkest shadow of your face because your whole head is casting a shadow onto your neck. Also, around the edges of the neck, you're going to have darker areas because your neck is going to be lightest in the middle and then it's going back in space around the edges. Okay, and then I have a bit of a Adam's apple kind of protruding out in the middle. Everybody sort of has this, whether you're female or male. Males might be more prominent. However, everyone has it and everyone's different. So just look in the mirror, see how your Adam's apple looks. Okay, then I've got collarbones. Mine protrude out quite far. You might not even see your collarbones in your drawing if you chose to wear a different type of top. I'm drawing myself with a tank top for this one, so you can see more of what's going on my body. I'm going to add a little bit of orange over here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to start gradually building up through the rainbow. So the next color after orange would be red. Oops. So you can continue to watch as I start building up the red and look at where I am placing the red because it might not be everywhere I place the orange. I'm actually going to go in a little bit more with the orange and kind of flatten out this upper lip area. Okay, and then when I'm ready to kind of show you more detail of the eye, lip, and nose area, I will slow it down into real time again. But for now, I think I'm going to speed it up as I move through the colors of the rainbow. So obviously, red is going to be next. Now I'm just going to let it start red. Alright, so the next color I'm going to take is the light purple, and I know that blue comes before purple, however, the purple I'm using is kind of on the lighter side, so I think that it makes a little bit lighter tones. So now I'm going to go in with the purple and start building up those darker shades even more. Next, I'm going to go in with a light blue and continue to darken up the darks. Alright, now I wanted to show you a trick to kind of make everything blend together and look nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do is take a white colored pencil, got it right here, and then I'm just going to kind of lay this over all the parts where I have a lot of color built up. You see around the cheek, starting to lay it down, and it's looking a lot smoother with a nice wash of white right over it. So I'm going to continue to do this, blending out with the white, and also I might go back and forth because I can see I missed a few spots with the darks, like specifically under the eye here. So I'll just go back and continue to lay down my darks and blend everything out with the white. Alright, now for the eyebrow, I'm actually going to cheat a little bit and use a brown colored pencil. And I know that this one is kind of a pre-mixed color. It's not one of the rainbow colors, but just using it for one little part. So feel free to bend the rules a little bit like I do. Okay, then I might add a little bit darker brown and add a few strokes of hair to kind of give it a little bit of dimension. Alright, now let's zoom into the eye, and I'll kind of show you how I do that area. Alright, so for the eye, I'm going to start with a dark blue. Let's see. Okay. And I'm going to draw it darkest on the top of the iris. I'm also going to outline a little bit of a shine mark. Now the shine mark is going to be a part that you leave white, and you want it to go through the iris as well as the pupil. So I'm going to draw the top of the iris the darkest, and then around the outside of the iris is going to be dark as well. You kind of have a dark ring around your eye, whether it's brown, blue, or green. I'm going to add a light shade of that darker blue. Then I'm going to go in, add a light shade of a lighter blue. And now since my eye is more on the grayish blue side, I'm actually going to take a black pencil and just add a layer of black. Now I know this is looking pretty dark, but what I do next is I just add some white over it to lighten it up at the bottom. I want to keep the top part pretty dark, but at the bottom I can lighten it up quite a bit. The bottom middle, I should say, because you're still going to keep it darker on the outside rim. I don't know, that kind of looks like my eye. Now the other eye, I kind of made it a little bit too blue. So I'm just going to kind of go through that and add the black layer to that one to make it look more realistic and like myself. Okay, I'm going to add a tiny bit of yellow because I can tell I did that for the other eye and I just want to look symmetrical. Alright, now I also want to take a little bit of that darker blue and I just want to lightly go over the top part of my white, the whites of my eyes, and maybe a little bit with black as well. Okay, this is because your upper lash line casts a shadow even on the white parts of your eye. So now I'm just blending that in with white to de-emphasize it. Now that looks about right to me. Then on the inner corner of my eye, I'm just going to add a little bit of red around the outside. Keep it pretty light in the middle though, for the tear ducts. Okay, then I'm going to go over the top lash line with some black, and eventually I'm going to put eyelashes on. But first I want to color that upper eyelid. So the eyelid is going to be a little bit darker around the outside because it's coming out in space, remember. So anything that is furthest out in space is going to be the lightest. So I'm going to put it on the inner and outer corner, keeping it lighter in the middle. Okay, then I'm going to take a light yellow color, go over the middle a little bit, maybe blend that right into the red shade I just put down, and then I'll take a little bit of white to make the very middle just extremely light, show that it is popping out in space. I'm going to repeat these steps for the lower lash line as well. Alright, so now I'm ready for some eyelashes. So what I am going to do is take a black colored pencil. Sorry, I just have to fix this up a bit. take my black colored pencil and just draw a few on the outside, maybe a few on the inside too. They're gonna start to curve more upright in the inside or right in the middle, and they're gonna go outward on the outside here. Then if you do have inner lashes a little bit, you can start going the opposite direction because it comes out in space. Now I forgot to do eyelashes on this eye, so I'm just gonna add a few to that eye as well to be symmetrical. All right, and there I am pretty happy with how the eyes look. So now let's talk about the nose. So you can see I made contour lines around the nose. They're most intense on the inner corners of the eye and the bottom part of the nose, because this part comes furthest out. That means it's going to cast a shadow on the bottom. So I'm just going to continue, kind of add those shades at the bottom of the nostril areas and start to make a light gradual gradient going towards the middle of the nose or the bridge of the nose. So it's going to be lightest right here in the middle and right at the tip of the nose. Alright, now for the lip, upper lip, and chin area, what I'm going to do is start with the lips, and I'm going to make them darker on the upper lip and then lighter on the lower lip. They're also going to be darker on the outsides because remember they're coming forward in space, so the middle is going to be the lightest and the lower lip goes out farther than the upper lip, so that one is also going to be lighter. So I'm just starting with the red, lightly going over, and then I'm adding a little bit of blue on the outer edges, keeping it a little bit lighter on the middle, and I can even go over with some white to lighten up that center part of the upper lip. Now for the lower lip, I think I'm going to take a lighter red, and I'm just going to go around the middle part of the lip and kind of leave that middle part nice and light. Okay, then I will lightly go over the middle part, maybe add a little bit of the darker red to the outer corners of the lower lip. And then maybe blend everything together with the white. Alright, now for the upper lip area, meaning the skin right above the lip, I am going to make a little bit of a Cupid's bow, and that's the part on the skin of your upper lip that kind of just dents in. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, and I'm just going to shape that with a red. Maybe go over the outsides with a little bit of a blue. Okay, then on either side, I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow as well. Just like that. Keeping the upper lip area blank so I can make that the lightest, brightest area. Alright. Then for the chin, I want you to notice you have a bit of a shadow right underneath your lower lip because your lower lip is casting a shadow on your chin. And then you have a little bit of highlights on either side of that shadow. So kind of like this lighter area on either side of the lip that leads up to that dark shadow. Okay, I just take mine down the sides a little bit. And then I have a little bit of a cleft chin, so that's why I have the dent in the middle here. But otherwise I'm kind of leaving the rest of it nice and light. Now I'm going to finish up the neck area and the hair, and I'll probably just speed this up because I think you get the main idea on how to do this multi-chromatic portrait.